Welcome, students, as we prepare for another episode of DC Graduates. I am one of your teachers, your doctor recommended dose of nerdiness, aka your nerd today, Carlos Rodriguez. And as always, I am joined by my teacher in crime, Sly. Sly, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so excited to be joining you back for the finale for now of our trilogy of DC Showcase shorts that we're covering for our bonus episodes.
Yeah,
It'll be a fun one.
it is going to be a fun one. Yeah, we are talking about 4 specific shorts this time. We have John Constantine, House of Mystery, which I don't know about you. I feel like we should end on that because that kind of segues into
Huh?
season 3. In
All
a weird
right.
way. As I saw the opening of it, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. We have Kamandi, Last Boy on Earth, The Losers, again the World War II version, not the not the Vertigo and or the film adaptation of the Vertigo series, by Jock,
hmm
and Blue Beetle, not Jaime Reyes, it's Ted Court. The funny one, not the cool one, the funny one.
um, I'm gonna be real honest. I forgot there was a white blue beetle, and I was a little off put.
What in the colonizer is this?
A little bit.
Nah, he's fine. He's invited, especially at least film version of Ted Cord. He's definitely invited at
Uh-huh.
the carne asada, as they like to say,
Okay.
because he's got like a Mexican daughter, as we've seen,
Okay.
or
All
some
right.
Latina daughter. So he's definitely, I know how he likes his women,
Mm.
just like Shadow, he likes Latinas. Uh, for your people who love memes out there. Um, so let's start off with our host history. I've never seen any of these. Again, similar to last week.
Mhm.
I think our first showcase was the most I've seen out of these showcases. How about you, Sly? Have you seen any of these prior?
Yeah. No. Nothing.
No.
I also thought theoretically that the collection was streaming on Tubi because I'm pretty sure it was when I checked a couple weeks ago. Uh, Not anymore. Couldn't find it literally anywhere. I checked all of my sources, all of them. You found it eventually. But yeah, uh, who
Twi-
knows
yeah,
where?
Twilight's on Tubi for the Kelsey Tom drills out there. Twilight's on there. I'm sure Kelsey watches this. I'm sure. We could make those
Kelsey,
jokes now
I love you
because
so much.
Kelsey's not, she doesn't watch this, and that means we're still fine to get tattoos as long as we make Twilight fun of Twilight here specifically, nowhere else on the internet.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
She's too
Cool.
busy. She's too busy.
If
Um,
somebody clips this out and
don't
sends it to her,
please. I need another
it's
tattoo
on
for her.
site.
Don't do it. Yeah, we're fucking you up. It's gonna be like that part in Jay Silent Bob Strike Back where we find your address and go to you. We won't dox you, but we'll find you.
Fuck you. Yeah.
All right, so
Mm-hmm.
these shorts are funny enough. Only have 2 directors between the 4 of them. We have Matt Peters and Milo Newman. It's written by Ernie Altbacker, Paul Giacopo, Tim Sheridan, Jeremy Adams. The studio is WB Animation. As you mentioned this last week as well, just WB Animation, only in-house stuff. Which again,
Mm-hmm.
very impressive with the visual styling that we get these 4 shirts, how
Mm-hmm.
different they are.
Yeah, a couple of very
Um,
different
yeah,
styles
and
within there as
there's
well.
one specifically in the Constantine part we'll talk about. I thought I was pleasantly surprised to see one specific thing that they did. I was like, oh, I was not
Mm.
expecting that. But our stars this time around are Matt Ryan, who is basically Constantine moving forward. If it ain't live action, it's animated, it's usually Matt Ryan, which is really nice to see. Robin Atkins Downs, Gray Griffin, Carmela Luddington, Cameron Monaghan, who I have a good question. I have a good Cameron Monaghan question. There we go.
Okay.
Ming Na Wen, who I adore. Eugene Bird, who's also
Uh,
been a big fixture within these DC animated things. We haven't talked about him. He does a lot of legwork in these DC animated movies and shorts, and as
he
well
was
in live
also
action.
on Eugene Bird was on a single episode of 911 Lodestar, I
Oh.
believe.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Arrow. I was like, he played a prominent member in the Arrowverse. Yes. Oh
Oh.
no, it's like okay, gotcha.
Sorry.
He's
I'm still stuck on 911.
Not served up Sundays.
But
goddammit.
speaking of medical dramas, I guess, do you know what Camilla Luddington is most known for?
Oh, funny enough, I do not. I only know her as Laura Croft because she's Tomb Raider.
Okay, she's a big character on Grey's. She's like Grey's
Oh,
Anatomy.
oh, cool. Good for her. I was really excited because I saw like you look up IMDb and there's like all the Tomb Raider games. I'm like, oh, good for her. She did like a lot of voice acting. I didn't know she was also in Grey's. That's cool. I feel like Grey's. Look, I love video game. We love voice acting. We love animation here. I would assume on IMDb Grey's would be above Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
No offense. But yeah, Eugene Bird has played. He is the brother to why can't I think? Spartan is his name in the Arrowverse. Oliver Queen's best friend in that universe. John. What's John's last name?
Oh God, yeah. What the
Diggle.
fuck is
He's
his
Diggle's
name?
brother. That's
Ding.
what it is. Yeah, he is Diggle's brother. So yeah, that's Eugene Bird is on that. He's in a prominent season in that. And Matt Lanter. Streaming. You know, who knows?
Oh no.
Who knows? The internet. Somewhere on the internet. You can find it somehow, some way, shape, form. If you know a guy named Frank, he might help you. You know? Who knows?
Is that how you got
Nah. Actually, funny enough,
Okay.
that website's from DJ Chris V over at twitch.tv / DJ Chris V.
All right.
He's really cool. He does really good work over there. Yeah, we talk a lot. I was like, hey man, where can I find this? He's like, here you go. I was like, cool. Thanks.
Cool. It was not in my regular rotation, and it will be now.
Yeah, there's other movies on there. Like,
I did want to, fact check myself. I was correct. Eugene Bird was on 911 Lone Star in one episode, season 5, episode 7. So this most recent season. Played Will on the Kiddos episode. I don't remember who you are. I'm so sorry. But yeah, great job.
oh, I'm sure you talked about him on Served Up Sundays. Since we have a lot of plot recaps again on this one, we'll alternate. So
sorry, did we talk about Matt Lanter though?
Yes, we did. We did mention
Okay.
Matt Lanter. Yes, he's very important. Matt Lanter. He's
Very important
precious
to me personally.
Yeah, to us, especially now that I'm almost done that. Yeah, that might have to change my question later on. Anyway, yeah, we'll for the plot recap, we'll alternate as we did last week. So Sly, hit us with the plot recap for Constantine.
Occult detective John Constantine is trapped in the House of Mystery, a secret domain where none can escape from. Until he does.
Yeah, of course, because he's John Constantine.
Right.
Kamandi and his friends Prince Tufton of the Tiger Kingdom and his humanoid mutant Ben Boxer are kidnapped by a guerrilla cult dedicated to finding the reincarnation of their god, the Mighty One. Man, Jack Kirby's the shit,
Real.
man. He's so crazy.
That's a great one. The losers, the legendary ragtag team of World War II outcasts, find themselves marooned on an uncharted island in the South Pacific that is completely overrun with dinosaurs.
Dun, dun, dun. And finally, the Blue Beetle teams up with the Question to investigate the manipulative schemes of the supervillain Dr. Spectro. Sly, hit us with those comic book characters.
We have Kamandi. We have the World War II iteration of the losers. Blue Beetle, of course. Captain Atom. The Question. Awesome. The Question in this. So good. Nightshade, Constantine, the Spectre, and a bunch of fucking demons.
Yep. A bunch of them.
All of them.
So typically with our episodes, we did do one last week until like we got to the segment about douchebag who wrote something. We typically have a segment called the Andrea Romano Roundup where we talk about a little, an idea, concept of what we were watching. So this week we actually have something. We have two things. One we'll touch upon at the end because I think that's going to be the main focus of Constantine's storyline. But for this, now we have what? At least between these two, we've had at least 7, right? There's 4. No, so there's like 9 shorts we've covered in these past 2 weeks and then 4 previously, right? So we got like I think about 13, 14 shorts.
Yeah, 13 shorts so far.
They I think this concept of DC Showcase. I know the most recent one was in 2022, which makes sense, especially what
Mhm.
we've seen so far. And it could make a comeback depending on how this ends. This ends a certain way that apparently will tie into season 4 of our series. Um, what are your thoughts on the idea of them doing shorts? Because we talked about this as well, and I think it's a good place to also kind of criticize the our competitors over at What If, because I don't think they
Mhm.
hit the mark with What If as well. As
Yeah,
much as
they
I
did
like a
not.
lot of that, I think they are
Yeah.
beholden to a structure that if it was more like this,
Mhm.
I think would have been a little better. I think when you hear the concept of What If, and
Yeah,
knowing
you're
that comic book series, you get one issue that's like, what if this thing is,
mhm.
and maybe the season could have been like, hey, what if this person was Captain America? What if this person was Captain America? Maybe who knows
Mhm.
if it would have worked or anything like that. But
They
this
kind of
better.
caught themselves in the traps of the like narrative frame they had with like trying to do a cohesive narrative arc throughout the season,
Mhm.
which did not help them. Also, they don't know how to animate women. Like they don't understand that like women walk like normal humans,
Yes, I
like
know.
like like
Black Widow
humans.
specifically like walks like it's crazy.
And Wanda had some pretty egregious movement when she showed up too. But yeah, so we don't have that problem here, which is great. People
Yeah.
move as they are intended to. And I think what is the beauty about shorts in this D- DC showcase format specifically is it really feels like every time somebody had an idea, a story they were itching to tell, and they wanted a medium to do it. And this provided them the opportunity to do a self contained introduction to a lesser known but beloved character in a way that they could highlight like the best of the best of that characterization in a way that's approachable for a general audience. That's what we get with like almost all of the shorts we've
Hmm.
gotten as we've watched through now literally all of them that they've
Yeah.
released.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I was gonna say, just to touch base with it. I think one of the cool things that they do as well, that something maybe we expected out of What If as well, is
Mhm.
that a lot of them, some of them, if they're not too like crazy, like if they're more modern adaptations of a specific storyline or like a time and place with a character, they will have a general like kind of outlook of how they look. Like Green Arrow
Mhm.
and Catwoman have a very Young Justice esque look to them, or more modern like DC animation, like across the board, like kind of looks normal. When you get something to like Kamandi, it looks right off the pages of Jack Kirby writing and drawing. When you get something like we also have here with like The Losers, it look or Sergeant Rock, it has that feel of the World War II, those like detective comics. Now it wasn't DC comics, now it's like detective comics esque. Blue Beetle does something very amazing with their animation that's very
Right.
funny and fits like Ted Kord's humor and stuff. But like what they do with the animation in that specifically works so well. We talked about it last week, Phantom Stranger. That is a fucking
Yeah.
episode of Scooby Doo.
Absolutely.
Like through and through, that is
Mhm.
actually an episode of fucking Scooby Doo, and it works so fucking well. Like the art style, like staying
They're
beholden to that style.
really, yeah, embracing the art style that best conveys the story they're trying to tell. A way that
Yeah.
I think, yeah, like what if it definitely would have benefited from. Should we get more? Is a great question, and I say yes, comma, like heavy asterisk, if somebody has a story they desperately want to tell. I
Hmm.
don't want this to be a churning machine of this is how we pump out all of these stories so that we can sell these one-off comics, right? I want this to be I have this idea, I have this beloved character, I want it in this art style, I have a 15 to 25 minute story I want to tell. I guess 12 to 25 minute
Hmm.
story I want to tell with this character. Here's my idea. And I think it's a great platform to have that, but the minute they try to force the creativity onto the DC showcase as a format the instant it collapses. Like,
Yeah,
how many people watched What If season 2? Not me.
yeah. I even mind you that I've seen season 2. Have you seen season 3? I haven't seen season 3. I keep forgetting it's
There's a
out.
season 3?
There's a season 3, which is crazy
Damn.
because and I think this is a good point. Obviously, we are a DC animated podcast, but the closest thing that we have to the showcase is What If, and a lot of similar. And I think it's a good point to also mention animation being a thing that we both love. Um, when you see Marvel struggle with What If,
Right.
DC's always, almost for the most part, known what to do with their animations, whether it be like a series or anything like that. Generally, they kind of get an idea. They know what they're doing, and they're really talented. Like the pool that they have, it seems like the issue to me. Anything that comes with DC is the oversight. Fuck David Zaslav, but like that's where the DC showcase could go wrong. Again, if they force something and they kind of force you to make a story,
Mhm.
like when we get to Constantine, a little later spoilers for our episode, that is not beholden to anything, but that does fit into a specific time frame of when these like movies of season 2 and season 3, I'm sorry, season 3, season 4 that we're going to be talking about.
Mhm.
It ties into those seasons and it is a bridge to our seasons that are not even filmed yet. Funny enough, we haven't watched these
And
movies.
full transparency, the Constantine House of Mystery was listed as a movie in one of our future
Yeah,
seasons until we realized that it was a
short.
short to
Yeah,
add
so we're
it
like,
into this
might as well do it
bonus.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that does fit, but like it is funny that is beholden to a sense that like it has a
Right.
place where it fits. It is part of this legacy of series of movies that we're going to be talking about, and then the future movies that we're going to talk about later down the line. But I mean, at least watching that, like I didn't feel like it was forced. Like I didn't feel forced by it. It
Mhm.
felt like someone wanted to tell a story about Constantine that could also happen to fit within the confines of this structured story that they have within DC animated universe and the Tomorrowverse, which is really interesting. But when you see something like when we got the initial What If episodes for season 1, let's say one of the
Mhm.
episodes on there was Marvel Zombies. They were like, okay, is this
Right.
straight up gonna be like a pretty brutal, thing? It wasn't rated R. It was pretty, it was pretty gory for what they could do at the time. Now we know there's gonna be a full season of, Marvel Zombies coming out, which will be TVMA, because now, Marvel and Disney's allowing them to do a little more, and they have the
Mhm.
age restrictions on that app that you can like, hey, my kids can't
Yeah.
go to my Disney Plus profile. I can go to theirs and I can watch Bluey and everything. I
Mhm.
age gate all their stuff, but they can't go to mine and watch Deadpool and Wolverine. Like
Right.
if I'm on it and I
Mhm.
walk out of the room, they put it on. First of all, we have to have a talk.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Uncle Billy. I don't know why you had that on in the background at the family party, but great. Now my kids know what Deadpool's like. Awesome. There's so many new curse words they learned, all for one man. God. But
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
that's my real life. But I think when you had the initial idea, at least for me, being such a fan of these DC animated shorts and everything like that, I assumed when we got to Marvel Zombies, it was going to look like the comic books. It was going to look completely different than we
Right.
had anything else because it
An
wasn't tied to anything.
iconic comic run.
Yeah,
It is so notable, like in the canon of comics in general, that has such a distinctive art style and look
yeah,
that to not embrace that feels like you're doing a disservice to the
yeah,
source material.
yeah. It really does, and I know a lot of people have their biases when it comes to modern animation and how it's like pumped out or anything like that, and Marvel is chief among them with these 3 seasons of What If. Um, but it's interesting to see what they did with X-Men 97, where they pivoted and
Mhm.
obviously there's a lot of
That was
creator issues
great.
with that. Yeah, it was great. The art style was different than what we saw with What
Mhm.
If, which was a little scary because it could have gone that way, right? Um,
Right.
and I think thank those leaks really worked, to help calm us down a little bit. I'm sure they were forced leaks,
Mhm.
similar to Ryan Reynolds leaking, Deadpool footage.
Right.
But I'm sure it was the Bo DeMeo at the time being like, hey, I'm just gonna show the photo, and oh, I got hacked. I don't know. It was weird. Here's the shirtless photos of me too.
Oh.
Whatever. Subscribe to my OnlyFans. No, thank you, sir. Anyway, but like that put us to ease because it didn't look like What If. And then when you have something like we're on the cusp of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man about to come out for
Mhm.
Disney, that doesn't look like anything we've seen. And it
Right.
at the time was pitched as a year one for Peter is no longer that. They're like it's a disservice to hold it and pigeonhole it to what we have in this MCU. Like that Peter
Right.
isn't really Spider-Man to what we got now. After his three movies,
Right.
he's finally the fully realized version of the comic book Spider-Man we have, which is cool. I have gripes. I have a lot of good things to say about those three movies and his Peter's place in the MCU. But this just being like,
Mhm.
hey, we're doing our own thing. We're going out and not beholden to this sacred timeline. We're not part of the MCU.
Yeah.
There's a multiverse out there, so this exists. It does not matter, and it looks different, and it works different, and all this other shit. Sure, I'm gonna give it a try, and I think that
Mhm.
really works. And that's something where Marvel could look at DC and be like, not everything needs to be, you want to make a shared universe, fine, that's okay, but like,
I feel
let
like
yourself
that's
live a little
when
bit.
DC is at its worst. It's when it's trying to pigeonhole itself
Mhm.
into a shared universe. The reason why you like saw the fall off on the live action stuff so quickly deteriorate because all
Mhm.
of the foundations were crap and you can't build on and create good art if that is your foundation. Which is why we're talking about the animated verse here.
Exactly. Very much so. And yeah, I think that's a good thing. But I'm with you. I think as long as they're not beholden to something and not forced to do something and crank something out, I think this can thrive in a very special place.
Right.
I would like to see more. I really would. Of course, I mean it's been 2 years since or I just recorded 3 years
Yeah.
since our last one, and that is there could be more in the pipeline we don't even know about. There could be more that they're
Hmm.
waiting for. The fallout of what just happened in the Tomorrowverse. Maybe they are going to
Yeah.
be like structured story wise and be connected to a shared universe, but maybe they are like, hey, let's see what's up with Jaime and Ted. And
Hmm.
show you what they're doing in the universe, and that could be like a 20-minute short. Like I'm down with that if you want to
Hmm.
pigeonhole it to the universe, but like let them tell their own stories and maybe they can have a different art style. I'm down. Sure. Why not? Fuck it. Let's go. Like I like this a lot. I really do. And Marvel could definitely learn from this. I will love more shorts. Even if Marvel wants to do shorts like this, like they used to do live action ones, why not do animated ones now?
Right.
Show me what
Oh
Loki
my
was
god.
doing when he was a
This is
teenager.
not a Marvel
Yeah.
podcast, but shout out to the those Marvel shorts. Those were iconic.
They were. They truly were. They truly were. All right, so moving in, we're going to talk about the shorts and then we'll finish up the Andrea Romano roundup when it comes to Constantine
Hmm.
House of Mystery. But let's start with Kamandi, the last boy
Hmm.
on Earth. What are your thoughts on this? Because
Yeah.
this is like he's a deep cut character, Kamandi. This is like deepest of deep
Yeah.
cuts.
Uh-huh. It was interesting that we got two like kind of like post-apocalyptic ish stories in a row here
Mm-hmm.
because we have Commandy and then the losers kind of has a similar vibe as
Yeah.
to the setting. But I really liked this trial aspect. Like the premise of like getting caught by this like cult or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
that was fine, whatever. Um but I really loved seeing how they work together to like accomplish this trial and the like ingenuity of man and what that means, and then having this like end prize big the like Superman uniform that like
Mm-hmm.
you're now the savior, and him saying like actually I'm not, but I'll go find him for you,
Yeah.
like I'll
No, we
go
should
search
definitely
for
find
him.
this motherfucker. We need him. Like.
Right. Yeah. I thought like the structure of the story was really good, and it really endeared me to these characters that again I don't really know any of these.
I think this does a better job than we were critical last week of of Adam Strange's, which was the weakest one of them all. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that it was a bad one. I think it was a good.
No,
All these are
it
really
was
good out of
good.
them.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but throwing you into that is very like who is Adam Strange? You had questions about the the Zeta beams and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that, and his placement in time and what happens with him. Like if they just had a couple of lines that would have helped serve this. This does a really good job of setting up who Commandy is, his origin very
Right.
quickly. Like he mentioned, like I was raised by my father. This is this. We
Yeah.
were in
5 second
Commandy. Yeah.
intro. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then like the beauty of him like getting validation of his like father stories and seeing Superman's suit and be like, "Oh, this is real. This happened.
Yeah.
I have to find him some way shape or form." Like
Right.
it was really cool. The trial was very interesting. it was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, this is trial. You might die." It was like there's a couple
Mm-hmm.
people who died, man. Like what if they all died? It's
There
like,
were,
"Nah, it's fine."
yeah. I think. Oop. Whoopsie. I think many people have died over the years. I don't feel like this is the first time they've run this trial, and like it was interesting that like looking back, you were like, oh, okay, they're describing all of these traits of Superman
Yeah.
and what his characterization would be in this kind of like fable type savior role. And how every step of the trial was to test a different aspect of his powers. But of course you can overcome that with, the sheer audacity of a white man.
Yeah, of course. Blonde hair, blue eyes, white kid. Of course he could do it. He's the
Mm-hmm.
savior.
Oh
He's the savior.
yeah.
I'm sure Clark would get a kick out of that as well. But
Mm-hmm.
I also really we mentioned this just a moment ago. This really hit home Jack Kirby style.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, did this look good? This looked exactly like it was off the page, just animated. Wow. And it did it like in his own style. Like it wasn't like one to one like a Jack
Mm-hmm.
Kirby drawing, but like it felt like it was. It felt like he came back from the dead, was in the animator's room, like now you gotta do it like this, and then you gotta put some weird ass
Mm-hmm.
machine in the background. Also
It
put some
really felt
graffiti that
like
says "fuck Stanley," like some shit like that.
yeah, it was embracing the style but not trying to like be an exact copy
Yeah,
in a way that I think works better than if you are trying to be an exact copy. It feels really stale. And this world really felt like rich and lived in a really beautiful way.
yeah. This was I like I had some notes like just like the general trial and everything, but overall I just enjoyed
Hmm.
myself so much watching this. I was really shocked at like how good it was. I was like, damn, this is really
Yeah.
really good, and it made me want more. Like I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind like a follow up short, like because they leave that note
Right.
at the end. It's like, oh, I know his future as well. Like let's see what happens. Of course, you can read the
Hmm.
comic books and. There's a lot of Commandy
Yeah.
books out there and they're really good, but like this is a really cool showcase of a very unknown character. Um,
Hmm.
Next, I want to talk about is the losers. Again, the World War II
Yeah.
team, not the Vertigo team, which I'm a big fan of the Vertigo version. So initially, when I saw the losers and not knowing that the short, I was like, oh my god, are we getting more of the like? Are we getting like the comic book version of the losers, like where there's a little more like the movie ends a certain way where it, like leaves it open, like the book definitely keeps going past the movie. It's a good
Hmm.
series. It's a really good series if you like that movie, that 2010 movie starring Idris Elba, Chris Evans is in it. There's some other people in it too, but
Hey.
um, yeah, it's a fun movie if you get a chance to watch it. Um, but this is the World War II team, which I was like happy. I was like, oh well, yeah, I guess we could find out about the original losers, but I kind of wanted the other guys. Um,
I had one major gripe with this short.
ooh, yes, okay.
There was a content warning for the short.
Yeah,
They killed the dog. They straight up
yes,
murdered that dog. I was
they
like,
did,
dude,
but you know what? He didn't go out
dude.
like a bitch. He went out fighting a T
We
Rex. So
went
like,
on it. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
but still.
that was the only saving grace for me is that he went out fighting a T Rex, not like. Not who we find out as the villain later on, the spy, the Chinese spy. At
Hmm.
least she wasn't the one that killed him. Because that at first was like, oh my god, she killed him, she did it, and I saw the T Rex. Was like, you know what?
Hmm.
At least
Yeah.
he went out how he lived his life, a hero. you know.
And this is the second World War II story we've gotten
Yeah.
in as many weeks, which is weird. And
Well,
I'm
technically
not
3.
a middle-aged white dad. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So like my World War II history is not all that brushed up. I will say the only thing I know about South Pacific is from the musical that I watched like 6 years ago.
Okay.
Uh, so that was my like going in. I was like, oh, the South Pacific liked the musical. Not quite. A little bit more dinosaurs in this version.
Yeah, a little time
Ming Na
displacement. Yeah.
Wen,
Great. Oh my god.
beautiful. No notes.
She's so
Perfection.
great in
Her
everything she is.
character was I eat it up when she was like playing that like where's the line of like
Mm-hmm.
doing what's right and doing like what you believe in. Oh, she did so
Yes.
good. I ate that shit up. Um, I did have one gripe with her character is she chewed out what's his face for shooting at the dinosaurs. And then he tries to bond with the dinosaurs because she chewed him out. And then she shoots them anyways. Like, make up your mind, woman.
Yeah, he
Like,
threw up
what do
a
you
straight up
want from me?
grenade. Like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Who cares? It's like you're gonna blow your
But
cover.
like, yeah, what do you expect for a woman who has an armory full of dead bodies? Like,
So many,
Jesus
and she
Christ.
just like. Did you not think the smell would attract anything? Like, first of all, they're dinosaurs. I'm sure they're hungry,
Right.
and now there's like fresh
Mm-hmm.
ass meat or rotten meat that they can eat. Uh, let
Mm-hmm.
alone like, all right. To be fair, my knowledge of Marines, and again, this is not a knock against them, since my best friend's a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
Not the most oblivious. They're pretty. There's a reason why they eat crayons in media and stuff like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
people make jokes about that. So yeah, him finding the bodies, I don't think it was by smell. I think he just like, oh, cool, I found the thing we were looking for. Nope, that's a dead body. That's a
Mm-hmm.
dead Chinese
Yep.
man. Okay. Oh,
Correct.
that's another dead Chinese man. I see what happened here. This is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like he puts two and two together really quickly, but like you didn't
Yeah.
smell that, dude. Like you didn't smell a dead
Mm-hmm.
body. They've been there for a minute.
You
They're
walked
like,
into an armory and it didn't smell like ammo, it smelled like dead bodies, and you're like, I wonder why.
yeah.
Opens the crate. Oh,
Oh,
I found out why.
yeah. Um, this team was
Yeah.
cool
Also,
though, man.
great. I had a great
Yeah.
time with this. It was fun. It was silly. I'm sure they were trying to get some emotional stakes out of me, but I was like, it's a silly, goofy time. We're just rolling
Yeah,
with
we're
it.
shooting dinosaurs. A dogfight, fought a T Rex. It unfortunately lost, but
Yeah,
still fought a T Rex. Um,
right.
it made me think though. Like I do what it brought out of me for this was because of being a fan of the 2010 movie, the Losers, and then
Hmm.
retroactively reading the comic book for that series, the Vertigo series, and then really really enjoying the comic book series for that by Jock. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I get more lore, right? Like, I didn't know that this is like a reimagining of that World War II team, So, like, makes you want to
Hmm.
know the history of like what was the DC Comics original version of the Losers, and then like, when they were writing the Vertigo series, they were like, all right, let's bring them back. Like I want to know more of like the behind the scenes stuff. That's what
Right.
interests me the most. The ending was very anticlimactic. It just ended. It was
Mm.
like the thing blew up and it was like, is she dead? Is she not dead? Like, does it matter? Did they stop the time thing? I guess they stopped the time thing. Like, it was
Yeah.
very,
They went out with a bang. They're now
yeah.
in the like prehistoric era, hanging out with some dinosaurs and a giant ass plane. I don't know. They're having a great time over there, I
The,
guess.
the cool thing, because they were like, oh, we have to blow it from the inside, would have been if like Constantine in his series, because eventually he walks around like the space between worlds. Like, if
Hmm.
you just see them like flying off in the background, like, oh shit, look, there they are. Like, they're just still through time and space. That sucks.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was a fun segment. It wasn't like egregious. Again, this is it. If I
Right.
had to pick out of all these, is probably the weakest one. But that's not saying anything bad about this. Like, this is a fun thing just to throw on. Like, oh, cool, more World War II stuff. That's not Sergeant Rock as well. Also, their
Right.
leader is a Native American. I was like, oh, that's cool. I need to know more about this World War II
Yeah.
losers. Like, I want to learn more about them now. Um, I thought that was interesting. Moving on to, for me, uh my favorite segment, just because of
Oh
the
yeah.
all the inside jokes that are in there. Blue Beetle. Uh
I
man,
think this was absolutely the strongest. Had the strongest visual
yeah.
identity. The comedic writing was really strong. All the characters felt really authentic. The plot was like just contrived enough that it worked, but
It
you weren't
was
like it was beautiful.
yeah, the fact that it was basically Super Friends, but good is how I wrote it.
Mhm.
It's all the little animation ticks, like the reused animation for the fights. I think Nightshade, like when she jumps in the frame to fight Blue Beetle because she's mind control,
Mhm.
kicks him a certain way, and then as she's like, "Do you want some of this?" and they just reuse the same kick and sound effect. I was like,
Yeah.
God, this is amazing. And they know, obviously, again, this is like
Okay.
2020, 2021. They know what they're doing. Like that, we're in on the joke
Mhm.
if you're a fan of animation. Like,
Right.
and to not even use Blue Beetle and the Question and Captain Atom and Nightshade as like the more modern interpretations, to use them as the Charlton version of those characters. Like before DC bought
Yeah.
that whole brand, like to use that version of Captain Atom and use that version of Nightshade, and which is funny enough, is also tied to Watchmen, because Watchmen is those characters, just
Mhm.
DC at the time was like, listen, we just bought them. Let's not be weird about it. Let's not make something where, Blue Beetle can't get it up, and Question is crazy. How about we change their names a little bit? Night Owl. Let's do Night Owl, and Rorschach. Let's do that. Yeah. And Captain Adam. Let's make him blue and naked. Doctor Manhattan. Here we go. For whatever reason. But like, it was fun to
I
see that.
really love Yeah, I really loved the questions design, specifically. The way they animated the facial
Hmm.
features was so beautifully done. It really felt like so grounded in the stylized nature that everything felt so seamless. I loved the portal effects. And like you said, the reusing of those
Oh my
animations,
god.
it really felt like this was a love letter to
Yeah.
these characters and to this art style. And I ate this shit up.
Yeah, and
And the
they
writing was hilarious too.
so good and so on the nose. It's perfect to use it for Blue Beetle, especially because Ted, both I think lend themselves to comedy a little bit, Jaime and Ted,
Right.
but Ted specifically is that comedic relief. Like there's a reason why him and Booster
Mm-hmm.
Gold are always like put together. They're that comedic duo,
Right.
you know. And for me, that's one of those things. Like when we eventually get, another Blue Beetle, hopefully live action,
Mm-hmm.
when we get another one with Sholo in it, and if we bring Ted, I think the perfect cast would be somebody like an SNL alum, like a Jason Sudeikis, a
Yeah.
Seth Meyers. Seth Meyers loves Ted Cord so much, has had his face drawn as Ted Cord before, and all this stuff. Like, this is one of his favorite characters. So, like, he's such a comedic, like, person, like, and he can still be a hero.
Mm-hmm.
This really captured a lot of that, but like in a very like hokey way, like Super Friends vibe. The sound effects of
Mm-hmm.
like when the question's like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you mean like how you own Ted Cord Industries because you're Ted Cord?" And instead of the beetle symbol, it's just a photo of Ted Cord. It says Ted Cord. It's so stupid. There's so many good little jokes. The Zorts. I don't know why that made me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And then him being worried, like
Oh,
I'm
that
gonna,
was great.
I can have kids, right? Like I don't know. And
My
then,
favorite fucking
oh, good.
line is after he starts using the diamond to amplify the
Oh yeah.
telescope, whatever, and everybody's sobbing and they're like, I'm too depressed to fight.
Yep. It was so
Me
good.
too, buddy.
I was like saying Captain Adam same. I felt that, man.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, one
Yeah,
of my
I felt
other
that one in my soul.
one of my other favorite things with the animation specifically is with the Scarab, which is his vehicle it uses.
Mhm.
The anime showed him at the end, it was like flying, and then it clipped, and like it did like seamlessly transition to off screen and then just use the same thing.
Uh-huh.
It like stopped right here and then just clipped back and just kept going. I was like, dude, that is great, man. This is definitely one I would
Mhm.
like to revisit again and again, like to see any little like
Yeah.
animation details for this. This is perfect. This is so good.
Mhm.
Um,
There
fine.
also was a line at the end, towards Question that he was like, "Facts don't care about your feelings," which is hilarious in like our current like
Yeah.
political climate.
Ooh, yeah, it is.
And as like a feature of the short, that one got a serious chuckle out of me.
That was really good. That was really, really good. All right, and finally, the star of it all, because it's surprisingly very important to what we're going to be touching upon the next two seasons.
The titular
Constantine.
short.
Yeah, Constantine, the House of Mystery. Um, and this is where we're kind of bringing our final section of the Andrea Romano Roundup, whereas I put this: the blight that is Constantine, a hero, but at what cost?
Mhm.
Because Constantine actually does something good as we see in the beginning of this short, which is spoilers, the end of all of season 3 of DC Graduates.
Gorgeous shot of like the
Uh,
devastated like Titan's Tower. They're all on the
oh,
beach,
half
and
robotic
Constantine's
fucking
like, yeah,
Starfire and
yeah.
what's the name? Nightwing in a straitjacket because he's been in Arkham. He's
Mm-hmm.
just literally crazy. Raven with her love, which is Damien, which is very interesting. Um, is Batman's
The
there, right?
choice.
Yeah, I know. At least everyone's aged up or aged down to fit
Mm-hmm.
properly in that universe,
Yeah,
which we'll touch upon this whole next season. There's so
yeah.
many. That last shot alone was like thinking. I was like, there's going to be so much shit we're getting to talk about this next
Oh yeah.
season with some of the choices they make with these characters, man. And like, they are not afraid to go rated R with a lot of this next season, which is going to be
Mm-hmm.
really interesting to talk about because
Yeah.
they get criticized a lot.
Especially in that like once we made that serious pivot to like the DC AMU, they
Yeah.
really leaned into like these are the stories we have. We're going to tell them and we're going to represent them the best we can.
Yeah.
And they make some bold choices. Most of the time it pays off. Sometimes you're like, ooh, I have a questions. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get there. But like this setup for the short and for the rest of our season was such a beautiful place to start with literally like them creating a flashpoint
Hmm.
to like reverse the apocalypse of war. Like that's what we're getting to, right?
That's
Um
insane.
and for that to be like 5 seconds out of this entire short was a beautiful setup and intro into uh trippy ass, zany ass torture house, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, this felt like it was almost like a Scooby Doo episode on acid. Like they made the joke of him running through, kind of like similar to Scooby Doo episodes.
Yeah.
But man, it was like anything that could go wrong did go wrong for Constantine. And Matt Ryan, kudos to Matt because he originally started off as the live action version of the titular Don Constantine and absolutely destroyed it in the NBC series
Mhm.
that was only lasted one season, criminally underrated. I believe that's no, actually, it's not on Max because I literally looked this up on Max earlier. That's on something, I'm sure. It's probably on CW Seed or some shit. Um, but
That's a callback.
I know, right? I know, but like that is a thing that unfortunately happened. And Matt Ryan's 2005. No, that's not right. That is the Keanu Reeves one. But anyway, that series is on something. You can just watch it if you get a chance to watch it.
Mhm.
Watch it. And he loves the character so much. He felt like he was born to play Constantine. And then, luckily enough for us as fans, whether you're fans of that series or just Matt playing the character, he got to reprise the role multiple times. Like he's got to do
Mhm.
every DC AMU movie as Constantine. He comes back for this, which is an end cap for AMU and the beginning of the Tomorrowverse, or maybe an end cap, who knows, of the Tomorrowverse,
Mhm.
as we get teased at the end. And as well, he played Constantine in Legends of Tomorrow and got to reprise his role in live action
Mhm.
form, and he was
Shout out to
stand out.
Lunch.
Dude, Legends of Tomorrow, honest to God, might be the best out of all those series. And how hyper gay that show is. It just is so good.
Okay.
So
Oh,
gay. And they let
Wentworth
Constantine
Miller,
be
you will
gay.
always have my heart.
Oh my God, dude. Wentworth Miller, man, is the best. Honestly, he's so charismatic as fucking as Captain Cold. God damn it, he's so good. But
Yeah.
they actually let
I
Constantine be gay in that series, like as poly as he
yeah,
is, like they again any port
they
in the
leaned
storm.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
hmm
John Constantine.
That's like really honestly probably my biggest canon exposure to Constantine as character is Legends of Tomorrow. It's not a character I've ever really like super drived with. If we're talking magic users of the DC universe, we'll get to her, but like Zatanna, my girl, like she's always been like my favorite. And so like most of my experiences with Constantine, oh, you're Elgato now. That's fine.
Oh god, I'm still here
Um
though. I don't know what the hell happened, but
yeah.
you know.
So most of my experiences, once again, with this character are through the wonderful format of fan fiction.
Okay.
Which fan fiction often has a very different interpretation of characters, and within like a fandom that can be pretty consistent, but it will not be like the like canon character at all, which is a fun little quirk. But this Constantine in
Yeah.
this short made me feel like, oh, like fanfiction writers know who Constantine is, and we're just sticking with canon. Like that's like the be all end all, because this felt so spot on for like every time Constantine's ever appeared in any fanfiction ever.
Yeah, it is interesting too, and you know what? I love the Constantine character, and of course, like Matt Ryan is the closest we've gotten to canon Constantine. Comic
hmm
book Swamp Thing, whether it be Alan Moore series, or the more modern interpretations that we've gotten in the '90s with douchebag writing him, and Alan Moore writing him, and then in the 2000s, and closer to the DCU, New 52 s Constantine series. This is like he feels more at home, as this Constantine. Now, listen, as much as I love Keanu Reeves, I do. As much as I actually enjoy that movie quite a bit. Really good soundtrack, by the way. Um,
Uh-huh.
Matt Ryan is the definitive Constantine. I know that a
Like,
lot of people have a soft spot for
mhm.
Keanu. I don't even, of course he's not British. There's a lot of problems there. There's a lot of choices they make. Keanu has a
Yeah.
lot of range. I love him to death.
Uh-huh.
Voice is not one of them. He does a mean
hmm
Shadow the Hedgehog. He's good as
Yeah.
Shadow, or other things,
Uh-huh.
Batman, those things. But British is not a good thing. So they played to his strong suits in that movie. But that didn't never really felt like the Constantine I grew up reading. That felt like a good, like as close as we could get. Like, oh, it's 2005. This is what we're gonna get. So enjoy what you got. I was like, yeah, all right, I will, and I do enjoy that quite a bit. But like the second Matt Ryan showed up on the scene, he just absolutely decimated it, and he just brings special sauce to Constantine, and then
hmm
the plight that
Yeah.
he goes through in this, he does one good thing,
Jesus Christ.
one really good
Yeah.
thing in his universe, and he pays for it so much. It sucks so
I
bad.
bet it's kind of his own fault. Like that's what really got to me. But like, yeah, basically like he shows up in this like persona ass air balloon. I don't know if you got that vibe, but it was giving like Persona 4 Golden, like every time you
Yeah.
like were in that like fucking blimp or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it immediately reminded me of. He's dropped off in this like house of mysteries, this mansion, right? And everything's going all right, right? It's his 50th birthday party. All of his friends are there. We got Z. He's got kids. And
Oh,
then
it's
everything
so
goes to
heartbreaking.
shit. And then we just see it going to shit over and over and over again. Like this endless torture. And then Spectre shows up and is like, I gave you like what I thought you wanted, like this place to live like peacefully, and you can't let yourself be happy. Damn. All
That
right.
dude, that was so heartbreaking because it does fall in line because reading a lot of House of Mystery stuff and knowing that it's like it's not necessarily evil, but like there's dark stuff that could be in the house, but like nothing like this that he keeps going through. And I was like, wow, this is a really interesting choice. Like, I know obviously we're going to talk about it next season, but a lot of DC AMU makes a lot of interesting choices. Like, is this one of them, or is it this a Tomorrowverse thing? Like, I was like, what an interesting choice for the House of Mystery. And like, it constantly kept going bad. And then they keep talking about, like, days turn to weeks, weeks turn to months, months turn to years, years turn to decades, decades turn to centuries. And it's centuries of torture of him seeing his friends hurt him so badly, and like his loved ones badly, and things that I don't think he even thought he wanted. I don't think he thought he wanted kids. And then he's presented with it and he's like, oh shit, I do want this. And then they keep killing him. And then he has to find
Mhm.
the slight pleasure in, you know, dying comedically, like twisting his ankle,
Right.
and like falling, like, ah shit, they
You
got
have
me.
to
Or
find like
me.
an ounce of joy in this like
Oh my.
horrific torturous existence.
Yeah, and then of course too, like one of my favorite ones out of all the deaths he had was well, there's just two. One that stuck out to me was they repeat him running through the forest outside of the House of
Hmm.
Mysteries, and then he's able to not trip and then wipe everyone
Hmm.
away, and then the tree kills him.
Hmm.
And right immediately. And he's like he just
Yeah.
seems so defeated as he gets picked up by it. I was like, oh, that's so funny.
Right.
Him fighting his kids and like punching them in the face, like, go to bed. That struck a special chord with me, as a parent
Yeah.
too.
Did you feel that one?
Yeah, just a line, "Go to bed." I was like, "Oh man, ah man, that hit." But one of my favorite deaths is, he constantly is questioning his surroundings. Like he's getting more of an
Right.
idea what's happening. And one of them, he walks into his room. He sees Z in just straight up lingerie,
Yeah.
and I was like, first of all, I think my first thing
Damn.
was like, "Damn." I was
Yeah.
like, damn, Zatanna, respectfully, but damn.
Uh-huh.
um,
Yeah. I think my note was I also think too much when a hot demon lady is trying to seduce me.
yeah.
Because he was just yapping. He was running his
He's
mouth
like,
that whole time.
he's like, are you sure we don't have kids? Like, I was like, come on. And then I put this note because honestly, this is how I feel, especially with Constantine. Similar to a Marvel Universe character, Matt Murdock, he is a whore.
Mhm.
And this
Yeah.
is the only ones we can
He
say are
sold his soul thrice.
thrice. He sold his
That
soul and
man's a
body
whore.
before. He is a whore. He's just straight up a whore, and that's fine. We're not slut
Mhm.
shaming. I'm just saying he
Sure,
is
yeah.
a
We
whore.
support
Like
you. It's just
100.
a fact.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, there's no fucking way that Constantine is not fucking this demon. There's no way.
Yeah.
And he like knowingly, like couple, like, oh, we got him, and the demon's like taking it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
do you got it?
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows he's gonna die, but
Mm-hmm.
like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's John Constantine. He knows what
Yeah.
he's doing. Like, there's no way he's not fucking this demon at some point. Like, the demon's gonna kill him, but he's gonna try. He's gonna try to hook up with
Right.
it, just for the
He
thought in
knows
his head.
he's
I did
gonna.
it.
Yeah, he's stuck in this. He knows that he's just gonna keep dying. Might as well go
Yeah,
out with the bang.
yeah. And that's not even just talking about Zatanna. I'm talking about like his friends too. Like, ah, you know what?
Yeah.
Never had sex
Oh
with
yeah.
this guy. Yeah,
Everyone.
sure.
Equal opportunity.
Yeah. He's like, but we're demons. I know what you are. I said what I
Uh-huh.
said.
Yeah.
It felt like
I just yeah.
it felt like the
I love
Boondocks
that
thing.
he like manipulated the fucking Spectre into announcing his sentence
What a
so that
brilliant
all
John
three
Constantine thing.
people
Oh my
really
god.
all three people he sold his soul to would show up to help him break out was just like the sluttiest thing a man could ever do.
Yeah.
And he did it. And I was like, this is so on brand. Like this is accurate. They know who they have and
Yeah.
they're using it to
I'm
their
so
advantage.
proud of you. I'm so proud of you, John
Yeah.
Constantine. But like it's like how's he gonna get out of this? Like he's stuck in this eternal thing. Like that sucks. And then again, like there was
Mhm.
like I was looking at IMDb and it was like, oh yeah, he does, even though Flash is the one that pulled the trigger, like because he like it's like because the Speed Force is the thing that determines what happens to him anyway. Like that's how he'll get
Mhm.
reprimanded or not reprimanded. But like John's
Mhm.
human, so it's like he's got to answer to someone. And the fact that the Spectre is like, dude, my boss is telling me I gotta talk to you. We gotta talk. This is a problem. Like you pissed off that guy. You pissed off God. So you're not going to heaven. You're not going to hell. I'm gonna put you in this box for the rest of your fucking eternity. I was like, wow, how's and my
Mhm.
head immediately was like, how's Constantine gonna get out of this? And he did it so
Right.
brilliantly. Like he pissed off so many people throughout his existence, extra dimensional
And then
beings.
used it to his advantage.
He's like, I'll wait a couple of 100 years to see what
Yeah.
the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's been 1,000 years. Hey, what's up? You finally showed up. cool. Thanks for making that hole. I'm just gonna walk throughout eternity for the
I'm
rest of my
out of
life.
here.
Yeah. And of course, the
Have
Spectre
fun.
is right there, just like, really, dude? Really? That's my job, dude. Oh, by the way, shout out to Lou Diamond Phillips, who really good voice as the Spectre. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
But I do love, because, again, canonically, the Spectre is God's vengeance within the, the universe, or, what it is, the multiverse. The God was
God-like
like,
figure, or whatever they said.
yeah, God's like, hey, Constantine's a problem, but he did one solid. I didn't expect shit to go that south. I'm gonna give him a pass. He has to answer for his crimes, but let's put him somewhere happy. All right, for eternity. He's like, you know what, Inspector, you know what? That's pretty good on you. You mellowed out in your age, God. So they put him in the House of Mystery. Be like, he's gonna be fine. He'll be surrounded by all his loved ones. And hey, he always kind of wanted kids. We'll give him that. And he just constantly tortures himself, which is just heartbreaking to see. I was like, holy
Fucking
shit.
devastating. Oh my god.
God. Like, it's always like he's always his worst enemy. So like, even in the afterlife, he doesn't even get a chance to like give himself some fucking peace. It's just, oh my
like
god.
Relatable. I also destroy all the good things in my life.
That's why I love John Constantine. Yeah. But
anyways,
man, this is
slapped.
This sucked, man. God, that hurts so hard, man. This is really good. And again, one of the cool animation things that we mentioned before actually comes here, because obviously this is a continuation of, the DC AMU, which we're about to start, next season again. This is the end of that and the beginning of the Tomorrowverse. This presumably takes place in that void of time that is the Tomorrowverse, and we know, at least from, just releases, Max, and everything like that, there's a trilogy of Crisis of Infinite Earth movies that take place in the Tomorrowverse and touch upon like Batman Beyond and other stuff, and very typical Crisis event, that we've talked about so many times. Right. I'm assuming, because unfortunately Constantine got out of his cell, and that wave that went across the world between worlds, I'm assuming that's the Crisis event. So I think we'll see. I'm assuming that
I haven't seen any of the Tomorrowverse, so that's all going to be new for me.
Yeah, that's the same here. I've seen a couple AMU ones. I don't remember which ones I've seen. I'm sure once we get to the episodes at hand, like for next season, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I have seen this one.
I know. Yeah, I've seen. I guess we're talking about next season now, but I've seen almost all of the DC AMU. Like that was like the bread and the butter of what I watched in those like teen years, right? So yeah, at least half of the DC AMU is all gonna be rewatches for me. But I did fall off right around that time, and I have not seen any of the Tomorrowverse, so that's all gonna be fresh and new.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting as well. When it comes to at least the Apocalypse War, I did see that because I was very intrigued to see how this universe, like the fact that they were ending a universe, I was like, oh wow, I guess like this didn't work out the way you guys wanted. I don't know. And then it was like, no, it goes into the Tomorrowverse. I was like, oh, you guys I got what you're doing. And then seeing Crisis, I'm like, oh, I get what you guys are doing now. I see the bigger picture. But yeah, I'm assuming we'll see how this plays out in the Tomorrowverse. But one of the cool animation things I thought was when John finally gets to do the remembrance spell and see himself making this, like understanding why he's in this predicament with the Spectre and like the House of Mysteries, where they could have gone like same animation style that we've seen currently, because Constantine looks different in our main story than he does in the DC AMU art style. I don't know if this is supposed to be like his Tomorrowverse art style. It doesn't look like it fits the Tomorrowverse, but like I haven't seen anybody outside of Clark in the Tomorrowverse, like anyone without a mask. So it's hard for me to tell. We see him make the deal with the Spectre or understand what's going on, and they use the DC AMU Constantine. Like they purposely put that art style because it makes total sense in our heads. It's a perfect decision to make because you got the idea that's that universe is Constantine before everything changed.
Mm-hmm.
So now he looks different because the whole universe has changed. That makes sense for us, the viewers. I didn't expect DC to do that. So I was really surprised to see them like show the old art style, especially with the Spectre. The Spectre is in this Tomorrowverse art style. Constantine that's watching these events is in the Tomorrowverse art style, and then you have AMU Constantine like
Mm-hmm.
getting sentenced by the Spectre. I was like, oh shit. I was like, that is such a small detail to do, but it works and it really helps fit this movie into what's happening in the universe. I was like, wow, what a
Yeah.
great fucking decision to make. It's so random, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how many people would see that and appreciate the way like we do, but it went a long way for me to be like, wow, you guys really know what you're doing with this.
Absolutely. I think it really just showed the like detail and care that was put into this. Like, I'm not sure business wide, but it feels like they knew this is going to be like one of those direct to DVD releases. It's going to be streaming. Like, this is going to be a pivotal part of this universe, and it may be in the short format, but we're gonna put the time and care that we would put into a regular full length project into it, and that really shows in just like the quality, the smoothness, and all those little details that you can pick up as you're watching through.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Um, so that is it for the shorts. Let us move on to drama class. I got one here.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about some other lines from this specific short, but one that stuck out to me because this is another one similar to the question saying facts, don't care about your feelings. It's from Blue Beetle, and this is the question. I did last week's one quote. You want to do this one?
Absolutely. All right. So this is the question. We can evade reality, but we cannot evade the consequences of evading reality. Tell that to Constantine.
Yeah, next short right away. That's me avoiding reality and getting out of it. Only John Constantine, man. Only John Constantine. All right, moving on. We got quiz time. This is now it's gonna be a toss up for you. I know this. Blue Beetle's voice actor Matt Lanter, or Lantern, plays what Jedi?
See, your fatal flaw here is asking a question about a person who is in both the hit network television show Timeless and Star Wars The Clone Wars 2008, my favorite movie of all time.
He is. That's so crazy that's not the series, the movie. That's what your favorite
really
thing.
good. Okay, I love the series. I love the series so dearly.
Rogue One is right there.
I've watched it in, like release order. I watched it in chronological order. I fucking love that series. I grew up on that series. It was my entire childhood. But that DVD went with me in every single car trip and went with me to college. Like, that DVD was with me through everything, okay? And that movie slaps, all right?
That is fair. That's fair. I will give you that. I will give you that. I'll give you. Wow, you know what?
Love Rogue One. It's like the best movie, but 2008's my favorite.
I will say I'm very shocked to find out that Matt Lanter, who you said Timeless, I'm like, oh my god, Eric Kripke made that show. How's he not in The Boys yet? Because anybody Eric Kripke worked with so far has been on that show, or one of the other off, like sections of that show, like where there'd be like Gen V or whatever. He's not in it. He's not listed as he's going to be in the next season or anything. I'm like, Jared Padalecki hasn't been in it either. So I was like, oh, so maybe, who knows, the next couple season. Sorry, you said Timeless. I'm like, I forgot about question, that.
Yeah. He plays Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars animated show and movie.
Oh my god, Gordon Vishnick's in Timeless? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Gordon Vishnick, of course, yeah. That's why you watched it. That's why you watched it initially. But yes, yeah, he is Anakin Skywalker, and honestly, it's funny because off air we've talked about this. My journey with Clone Wars. I love Anakin Skywalker now. He's the best Skywalker. Other than Leia, he's the best Skywalker. So Leia's number one for me, Anakin number
Yeah.
two, and that's literally just because like, unfortunately, you get George Lucas directed Hayden Christensen. This is Clone Wars has made me realize as long as Hayden has a good director and a good vision, he's gonna excel as Anakin. But Matt
Listen,
does
he
such heavy
did.
lifting.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen. This is not a Star Wars part.
No.
He did a good job with what he was given.
Yes.
Okay, he's given shit writing and shit directing,
Yeah.
and we should not villainize him for doing his damn best.
No.
Don't bully people on the internet just because you don't like the work they did as a child. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I have not bullied anybody on the internet, but I will say, teenage Carlos is apologizing now because he understands. But also, Matt definitely does a lot of heavy lifting to help like Hayden
Yeah.
Christensen, and it helped that character in general of Anakin be actually
Absolutely.
like a good character to root for. Like I
A good
totally,
fleshed out, like
yeah,
detailed, like yeah.
understand
He
everything that
brings a lot to the
Anakin
role.
does in episode 3 and like how quickly he turns bad and everything that he
Uh-huh.
does, yeah, subsequently makes sense. Honestly makes sense because of
Yeah.
Matt's performance. So like shout out to Matt for just being
Yeah.
awesome in general. He's great as Blue Beetle,
Mhm.
great comedic timing, but like this was cool. Um so final thoughts with these showcases, we always rank them. We did this last two
Mhm.
episodes. So let's rank them. Sly, we'll start with you. I took the lead last time.
Oh boy. I really want to put Blue Beetle first. Uh, Constantine I feel like was the strongest,
Mhm.
so that would be my 1-2 punch. In either order. I
Mhm.
can't decide. You can decide that for me. Um, and then we only have 4 of these. Okay. I'm gonna go Commandy 3 and the Losers 4 only because like we got a lot of like World War II era military stuff a lot recently
3
with
weeks in
all
a
of the
row.
things we've been covering 3 weeks in a row. And so like I feel like if I had gotten this story at a different time, it might have hit differently, but I've seen so many World War II stories lately, and this wasn't the strongest. It was still incredible.
Yeah,
Ming
I
Na
agree.
Wen, you have my heart and soul and total devotion. I would do anything for you. Again, like we're ranking based on so many different things, but all of these are good. I
Yeah,
think we could definitively say.
100%. 100%. We all agree with that. Actually, my list is very similar. I would definitely solidly pick Constantine over Blue Beetle only because it is a very solid choice. I really, really enjoy Matt Ryan as Constantine. Again, he to me is our
Mhm.
definitive Constantine. Again, no shade to Keanu. I think that movie's fun. I am excited for Constantine 2 that stars Keanu Reeves. But Matt Ryan is Constantine. He really is truly John Constantine, which
Mhm.
as well. I mean, we had other depictions. I know Jenna Coleman played Constantine. Was it Jenna Constantine or Joanna Constantine in Douchebag's Netflix Sandman series?
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see her portrayal on Constantine. But like
Mhm.
Matt is Constantine, like through and through. And to see like him sadly actually get rewarded for doing something good for once and then immediately be like, no, I still don't deserve it, and just fuck himself over constantly. So sad, so heartbreaking. And then who knows what his outcome will be. We'll see, possibly in season 4 of DC Graduates with the Tomorrowverse. But I that's a definite one for me. Blue Beetle 2, strong contender for number 1, though. It's just so different and awesome and
Mhm.
funny and it's beautiful in its own little way.
It
Commandy is
embraced that
yeah.
stylizedness so much, and that's what I want out of these shorts is really committing to
Hmm.
the playing with the art style and the storytelling and the structure that you can get away with in these shorts, which is why it's probably my number one.
Yeah. And Commandy for me is 3 only because the other 2 are so strong. Like Commandy
Right.
in a different list could be number 1. It's just
Mhm.
you have Constantine and Blue Beetle and they're both so much better sadly than Commandy, but Commandy is so strong on its own. Like that Jack Kirby style is just perfectly captured in that. The Losers, yeah, it is a little World War II DC fatigue funny enough because we again past 3 weeks we've had Sergeant Rock 2 of those weeks, different versions of the Creature Commandos 2 of those weeks, funny enough. And then, obviously our main boy GI Robot. That episode, one episode was so strong that the short was like, oh, it's okay. And then this week is like, here's another team in the World War II era. It's like, mate, you guys I do forget that most of comic books at that time were World War or Romance era comic books that were selling.
Yeah.
If they weren't selling to the soldiers, they were selling to the dames at home. So that's all comics were at that time, or horror. So it's just a little
and
fatigue.
it does make me want to read that comic book series.
Yeah.
So I think it achieved what it set out to do.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
it's
interested to
gotten me
learn
interested.
more about the World War II era of the losers because of how much I love that 2010 live action movie and how much I love the, Vertigo series is based off that. I ended up reading through that whole series post watching that 2010 movie. It's like now I'm like, oh, there's even more to this. Like, there's more lore to what the losers are. Like, oh, I'm down to check out what that is. It did its job, and it's stacked against 3 of the strongest shorts that we've seen out of all these shorts, all these 13 shorts. Like, it's stacked against 3 of the strongest. It unfortunately is number 4, but everything else is like it's pretty damn good. Other than the ending, it's just stacked against Kamandi, Blue Beetle, and Constantine. Like, it's hard. It's really hard. But yeah, we're very similar on that. So next, final thoughts. I think these, without a doubt, go find, watch, way somehow. If you can watch them legally, awesome. Not
Find
like
the
last week.
DVD, I guess.
Yeah, true. Ooh, yes, I do like that idea. I saw your checklist. That is something we can definitely discuss after Wednesday. Let's see, we'll talk about it Wednesday. But yeah, I definitely, if you could buy the DVD, watch it. This does make me excited, especially ending with Constantine and seeing the end of what we're going to talk about now. We're going to start at the beginning because your homework now next week is Justice League, Flashpoint Paradox. I can say,
2013.
I can safely say this is already one of my favorite movies of all time. I've watched this many a time, and I'm very excited to touch upon this. This is a good Flashpoint Paradox adaptation, which we'll talk about more next week. I
haven't seen the live action one.
I saw at least an hour, and I was like, "Oh, this is what we're doing." Okay, all right. There are other stories though that are Flash centric and are really good, so seek those out, comic book wise at least. It is funny to see that our last short started with Flash creating a Flashpoint paradox again, and now we're gonna start at the beginning of his original paradox that starts the DC AMU. So that's your homework next week. Is it streaming somewhere? I don't fucking know. Probably Max. Hopefully
We'll
Max.
figure it out.
Jesus God, I hope it's Max. That at least should be on there. Most of these movies coming up should be on Max. They better fucking be. Watch is only going to be the Tomorrowverse because it's all new. But yeah, Sly. Before we dismiss class, where can people find you?
Please don't. I don't want to exist on the internet anymore. If you really want to find me, I do a weekly live show talking about network television and fan fiction and all that good stuff on We'll Throw the After Party called Served Up Sundays. You can find me on various point in progress projects, including, of course, DC Graduates, and you always plug it for me, so I'm actually remembering to plug it this time. Our retired show, MC University, which was me going through the non-MCU Marvel movies for the first time. I do lots of podcasts. I'm trying to start like 5 more, so we'll see how that goes.
Let's do all the podcasts all the time, every
All of them.
which way. For me, you can find me here, youtube.com/point in progress for video watchers. Or if you're listening, go over, check it out. Give us a sub. We're over 500. And we're trucking our way to 1,000. On there, you can find me doing It's Not a Loop, It's a Spiral, which is season 1 of our Remedyverse playthrough series, where I play through Alan Wake Remastered and Alan Wake American Nightmare. And as well as, I think maybe as these posts, season 2 might be out, which is It's Not a Loop, It's a Quantum Break. obviously by the title, I'm playing Quantum Break, and then afterwards, because every act ends with an episode, I'm reacting to the live action episode of that. And fuck Charlie in that show. He
Oh.
sucks. Again, that actor, phenomenal fucking job because I hate that character. So kudos to that guy. But fuck that character. God, I can't. I hope something bad happens to him in that in that game or show, whatever part of the story it happens. I just hope it happens. Hopefully, it's me doing it. Character wise, God, man, he sucks. Um, again, acting wise, phenomenal job. God, you're doing your job, man. But yeah, I'm doing that over there. For my personal stuff, you can find me youtube.com/nerdaday, where I have my personal stuff I'm going to be ramping up soon. And as well, we have Chaos Bringers over there, our Final Fantasy retrospective podcast series between me and my other co-hosts here on Pip, Frank and Harv, as we talk through the Final Fantasy series. There's some fun ones on there already, but we have 5 and 6 on the horizon, which I can't wait to talk about. Final Fantasy 6 specifically. I've never played it. I haven't started playing it yet. So it's gonna be fun playing through that and being that, and then we get to talk about Harv's favorite game, Final Fantasy VIII, and he's gonna have to defend that. He's defending that game.
That'll be a fun
And
one.
yeah, that's gonna be a really fun one. But yeah, till next time, class is dismissed.